My name's David Gudgeon. I'm the Head of External Affairs at Reconomy Connect, which is part of the Reconomy Group and international circular economy specialists. Well, we seem to love circles, right? Whether that's a circular economy circle. So, you know, I can imagine these giant toys you get at the Olympic Games, and ours is clearly going to be a circular economy arrow. Yeah, so Reconomy Connect is actually the formulation of about 15 different brands within the recycle loop of Reconomy, which is the waste collections division of the group. And it felt like the biggest company that nobody had really ever heard of as a £1.8 billion global organisation. I joined the business thinking that they were a skip construction industry waste company. So it was quite a pleasant surprise to identify that we're in 80 different countries and that we're absolutely ginormous and global as a business. Key moments that shaped my journey, without a shadow of a doubt, I think I started the process very much when I was in field sales by realising that it was far more fun to go in 20 plus years ago and to try and sell recycling to somebody rather than selling waste management. And at that point in the industry, that was nobody did recycling at a commercial scale at all. And I think since then I was given the opportunity in account management to really step forward and take on a national contract with PricewaterhouseCoopers or PwC. And that was where I really got to hone my skills in terms of relationship management side of things. So I've always just been able to take that forward through each of the roles that I've done since and lands me in the wonderful world of external affairs now. It's a pet peeve of mine that we talk about circular economies. And I think in the UK we're very good at understanding the basic principles of the circular economy, and that people are very much aware of what I can recycle. I suppose for me, the challenge here comes from the idea that if it's going to be a truly circular economy, you have to have increased recycled content going into the loop. Otherwise, if you're a packaging manufacturer and you say, well, I'm making a product and it's recyclable, but I'm always using virgin material to come in, then it's a challenge to keep trying to close that loop on a circular economy. So I think that's where improving recycling content is essential as we go forwards. Economics, quite frankly, in the early days and still nowadays, the gap between is something sustainable and is it economically beneficial to a business are actually one and the same thing. The more we can improve recycling rates in the UK, the more resilient and economically resilient a business is going to be. And I guess it's about brand as well, and it's about protecting your brand and making sure your brand is seen as a sustainable choice for consumers. Started with sort of David Palmer Jones and Max actually at a similar time to each other, and they both were leaders that kind of gave you an opportunity to really explore recycling with clients. And I was also quite fortunate that I had clients that were just really keen to say, actually, I want to move my world, whether it was zero to landfill 20 years ago that felt new to everybody, whether it was improving recyclability. And I'm fortunate enough since I've joined Reconomy and Reconomy Connect, that with Mike Benton, I'm able to explore circularity even more with some of our clients and ideally in more of our customers across the globe now.
At KP, sustainability is in every solution, from recyclable medical device films to recycled content card films. We're leading the future of sustainable packaging.
Yeah, so many years ago I was put on a fairly intensive training course for 2 days, sitting in front of a camera being filmed dozens of times over, being told to stop using my hands like Henry Cooper or Tommy Cooper, can't remember which one it was, but it was certainly probably both of them. But I've just found that training has led me for years to really trying to focus to hone those skills, but also, in truth, just practice. So I think for me with our feedback program, our customer feedback program, it's lovely when we get really high scores, we're told we're great, but actually what's more important is where we're told here's an improvement you can make, and it's what I would describe as a blind spot in the business. Maybe we think we're great at something and you think, yeah, it's okay. So I enjoy the interviews the most actually when there's some constructive feedback about what do we want to do to improve, how do we take that journey forward with the customers even more than ever before. For me, it still comes back to the same principles. The more circular a business can be, and the more, as a packaging industry, we can focus on being sustainable, then it naturally will drive market leaders in sustainable packaging that will be affected by recycling assessment methodology, whether something's got a red, amber, green status, that's going to change buying behaviours. And for those businesses that can be at the forefront of becoming more sustainable, actually they become more economically sustainable at the same time. So I continue to stand by the fact that the two go hand in hand. They don't necessarily compete with each other, as they probably do in a lot of other areas of procurement. In terms of reuse models, at the moment we're seeing there's a trial in Glasgow that's running as we speak with a large handful of coffee shops that are reusing coffee cups, and you can take them into any shop rather than it just being a specific brand of reusable cup. And I think that's exciting. In London there are plenty of companies out there starting to offer reusable schemes, whether that's trying to do hospitality lunches into offices and bits and bobs. So in the hospitality sector, I think we're seeing a huge growth in reusable packaging rather than just recyclable packaging, which is great then, because now we're starting to talk about the next step on the waste hierarchy. So with the glass bottle reuse trial that we've been trialling with a client at the moment, we started by collecting all of the glass bottles from 10 pubs, and we had them collected, taken back to a facility that was actually going to wash them and send them back to the bottling plant. So they'll be perfectly clean and reusable, sent back to the bottling plant. Now at the moment, about a third to a half of the bottles can go back into the supply chain. The others aren't quite ready for that yet, but that trial has been running for about 6 months. It's been so successful that that client in question is now planning in 2025 to mobilise that same reuse solution across about 700 pubs in the UK, and that will really be one of the first of its kind at scale as a reuse scheme. If you're starting to put packaging on the market that's got more and more red logos on it, I think you're almost seen in the same way that some of the food companies were a few years ago, where all of a sudden fat contents and sugar contents and, you know, simple red, amber, green status changed people's buying behaviours. And I think you're going to find exactly the same under this new regulation. I think the buyers are going to look to buy more green packaging. So under the red, amber, green status, it's obviously going to directly impact the EPR fees. eventually that businesses are paying and that packaging manufacturers pay. So there's also an economic reason for packaging manufacturers to start manufacturing an amber or a green status product and to move away from red status products. And I think that's really important as well. So I think what's kept me excited the most is that over the near 25 years that I've worked in this industry now, it's evolved so much that it's almost a different world to the one I joined when I was offered a company car and a Nokia 3210 mobile phone. I think as we look forward, if I imagine what it was 20 years ago and imagine, wow, what's it going to look like in another 20 years from now, we will have moved on to a whole new world all over again. And that's one that I definitely want to be part of, that next stage of the journey. So I think I've always started with a principle: be nosy, ask questions even if you think they're stupid questions. Ask people, what do you do? Why do you do it? How do you do it? When do you do it? Because I think the more you can understand other people, the more you can understand different opinions as well, and try and look through things through someone else's eyes rather than constantly just looking from your own side. The more you can build an informed decision to offer in your role, whether that's as a leader of the business, whether it's in external affairs, or in just about any job that you take within this industry. So I think that's an incredibly important step for people to take, and actually go to the trade shows, right? Take the time to talk and listen. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but I think the more you do that, the more rounded your opinion and your perspective on the packaging industry is going to be. And that can surely only make you more of a valuable asset in any role that you want to take in our industry.